A few months ago, my sister found out that our mom had given a baby up for adoption when she was a young teen. She told me and went to confront Mom about never saying anything, but Mom shut down. She wanted a termination, but her family prevented her from getting one. They wanted her to raise the baby, but she didn't even want to touch her and refused all contact in the hospital and said she wanted the baby to be adopted out. Her family tried to stop it, but Mom threatened to reveal who the father was if they made her keep the baby. She was kicked out not long after, and Mom was only 14 when all this happened, so it was deeply traumatic for her. She only told Dad once and they never talked about it again. That's why Dad told us. My sister told us she was in touch with the person Mom gave up for adoption. This woman wanted to meet her, ask questions, and meet us all. Mom said she wouldn't meet this woman and would not answer questions. My sister didn't listen, and she told this woman that Mom had agreed to meet her. She went beyond that and lied and promised that we all wanted her to be part of the family as a daughter and sister, and that Mom had loved and missed her and thought about her daily. Then she brought her to the house during a family dinner. Mom fell apart when she realized and locked herself in the bedroom. Dad told my sister she had to leave and had to take her guest with her. Dad went to check on Mom while I made sure my sister had actually left. My sister wanted me to leave with them and go to lunch, and that's when I found out about her promise to have a relationship with everyone. I told my sister I wasn't going, and she left super angry at me and our parents. My mom isn't talking to my sister right now. My dad told my sister she had no right to pull the stunt she did, and my sister kept trying to pretend I was on her side when I was not. She keeps talking about how hurt the woman was that we didn't want to meet and know her, and that she was treated like a criminal when she wasn't to blame for how she was conceived. I told my sister she had no right to make promises on our behalf, and I said all hurt feelings are her fault for lying in the first place. My sister said it should be how we feel, and I said it should not be. I said the fact is it'll never be. I said she could have a relationship with her if she wanted, but she couldn't force Mom into it after everything Mom went through. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. OMG, your sister. How disrespectful. I don't even know you, and I'm so angry at your sister right now. Disrespectful, no compassion, liar, clueless, egocentric, so oblivious. How could she have done this to your mother after your father told you the story? Her sister seems more concerned about how the adoptee feels rather than the very real trauma her mother suffered. It's not about rejecting the adoptee, it's about protecting her mother from further pain. Sister's actions were deeply selfish. She might have thought she was doing the right thing, but ignoring her mom's boundaries and forcing a reunion she didn't want was beyond inappropriate. But does this random woman understand the circumstances? I do her a kindness and explain the actual events to her. There's no guarantee that your sister hasn't lied to her in many ways. Get in touch with her and clearly state that your sister is unstable and unreliable. Be honest about your mom's unaddressed trauma and unwillingness ever to see her again. Oh, there's no doubt in my mind the sister never mentioned the facts to the adopted one. More than likely, the sister told her, Mom was a teen mom and couldn't afford to raise you. Or worse yet, she could have told the woman that her parents, OP's grandparents, made the mom give her up. You cannot want a relationship with this woman while still being empathetic enough to make sure to let her know that your sister did all this crap on her own. You can even tell the woman that you are not and may never be ready for a relationship. Then go no contact with your manipulative witch of a sister. Your sister is going to lose her mother over this. I, 27 female, have been with my boyfriend, 30, for a little over a year now. We recently moved in together. I have a pre-tween from an ex, and my boyfriend has 2 kids, a young grammar schooler and a tween. Since we moved in together, I now have his children every weekend, and he works Fridays, so I'm alone with them till he's off work. Friday night I made meatloaf with roasted broccoli and mashed potatoes. My son eats well, he knows to eat the best he can, and if he doesn't finish his food, that's okay, but he at least has to eat the most he can unless he doesn't want a before-bedtime snack. I hold my boyfriend's children to these same rules, which we haven't had any issues with till Friday night. Neither of the kids liked the food, the older one ate it and the younger one refused. I said I'm not making you another meal, so he went to bed without dinner. When my boyfriend got home, his youngest complained he was hungry, and my boyfriend got upset that I refused to make him something else. I told him I wouldn't hold his children to rules different from those of my child. He got upset and ended up making him something else to eat. Then he told me that it was horrible of me to deny a child dinner and blamed it on his young age, explaining that I had to be more lenient. I explained that I'd raised a young child before, and I was once a young child and followed those same rules, which just resulted in a huge argument and him calling me ignorant. Today we had a call from my boyfriend's ex, and now the children don't want to come till Saturday or Friday night late when my boyfriend is off work. This caused another big argument between my boyfriend and me. He once again called me an ignorant idiot and said I needed to change my way of thinking. Am I the idiot? Add, I didn't force this kid to go to bed hungry. I suggested he eat a larger portion of his mashed potatoes and a smaller portion of other things, which he refused, and he didn't want to make anything else himself. Did the kids flat out refuse to try it? We have a 3-bite rule. Try 3 bites. If you don't like it, you may help yourself to fruit, yogurt, or make yourself a sandwich or something of the sort. Did you allow them a healthy alternative that they could help themselves to? Did he know of your rule prior, or was this the first time the rule came to the surface? You are the idiot. You don't need to make 2 meals, but people can dislike something. Yeah, you are the idiot. You don't get to decide how to parent the child, especially if the child's parents agree on how the child should be parented and treated, and you're trying to go against that. If you're unwilling to care for the kids in any other way, you need to tell your boyfriend that you can't look after them for mealtimes and accept however he decides to proceed. You definitely don't get to be annoyed that the kids don't want to come over for those mealtimes. I would also refuse to spend time around someone who made me experience significant physical discomfort and denied me access to food. I don't agree with this. She's alone with all 3 kids on Fridays. She's supposed to hold her son accountable to her rules and not the other 2 right in front of them. That's not fair. It's their father's job to watch them during his parenting time, and if he's putting that responsibility on her, then what she says goes. If he doesn't like it, he needs to change his work schedule to accommodate his parenting time and watch his kids himself. Imagine saying, it's not your child, you don't get to parent, but wanting her to care for the kid the same way a parent would. Get out! If Dad and X want OP to treat his kids differently, X can send food with the kids on Fridays. Heck, I'm sure OP would even agree to inform the X of what's being served for dinner. The kid is a young grammar schooler. They can learn some accountability, especially if this isn't a new arrangement. As it stands, the parents are just teaching the kid that they can manipulate everyone involved with an emotional response. My husband, 33, and I, female 24, have been married 2 years, and we have an infant daughter. Prior to my pregnancy, I was active, but not as active as my husband. He's big into fitness and stuff, and I really am not. I just worked out because my doctor told me to. LOL. I only ran maybe twice a week and had a Pilates class every Sunday. I weighed 120 pounds before pregnancy. During pregnancy, I gained 40, lost 20 right off the bat after having my daughter, which my doctor said was normal through my baby herself, fluid, placenta, all that, and I've been working on losing the last 20. While my body looks different, I don't really care as I'm just glad my baby is so healthy and perfect. However, my husband started mentioning my weight at 2 weeks postpartum, literally. He would say it and frame it in a way that was a compliment, but it wasn't. Oh, you look so good, you look like a mommy now. Or, I wouldn't guess it was a whole 20 pounds, maybe just 10 or so. I just rolled my eyes and told him to stop. Honestly, I didn't care. Those comments happen maybe twice a week, so it was easy to forget. My doctor told me to wait 12 weeks before returning to strenuous exercise, so I did. But the moment I hit 12 weeks, my husband asked me to come to the gym with him literally all the time. He was badgering me almost. I did it to make him happy, and he certainly was happy. It felt good to have some time to myself, and I didn't mind going at all. But now it's been another 4 weeks since then, and I haven't lost any weight, but I've lost 2.5 pounds. My husband seems to think this is because I snack too much, and he told me that. I told him I had to. I was breastfeeding, so that started an argument. He told me I should return to Pilates to tighten my tummy again. I told him I'd rather die than do that right now, to be honest. He told me, fine, then at least try harder. I told him I was trying my absolute damned hardest, and you don't just magically lose weight in the gym. He wholeheartedly disagrees with that and went on a tangent about how he loves me and my body for carrying our baby, but he still wants me to take care of myself for my health. Whatever. I mean, I get that sentiment. A lot of my postpartum appointments centered around my health as well, but it's more things like recovering, sleeping and eating enough, not working out. So, am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. The rule of thumb for weight loss after having a baby is that it takes about 9 months to put the weight on, and it takes about 9 months to take the weight off. I'm afraid he thought that if he married someone so much younger than him, he would have a trophy wife forever. He ordered a skinny young woman, and you're older, postpartum, and less easy to manipulate. The absolute cheek of you. Don't worry, he'll be moving to a younger model soon. Yeah, husbands who complain about their wife's postpartum bodies are always the ones who cheat. I'm really sorry that your husband is ruining what should be one of the most special times in your life. Your body just created human life, and now you have a beautiful, healthy baby. That should be celebrated. The health of your baby and you should be all that matters, not weight, not a flat stomach. Why on earth would you get pregnant by a man a decade older before your brain is even finished developing? He wanted a younger woman to trap and belittle, and he's doing just that. You could leave, but I don't think you will. The fact that he's saying this crap to his newly postpartum wife should have been an instant deal breaker. My wife, Far, 32, is from Thailand. We met while she was studying in the US, fell in love and got married 5 years ago. She's an amazing woman, kind, hardworking and incredibly smart. Unfortunately, my parents have never fully accepted her. From the beginning, they made offhand comments about her being a gold digger and only marrying me for a green card. No matter how many times I told them otherwise, they held on to this ignorant assumption. It doesn't matter that Far has a successful career, makes her own money, she makes more than me by the way, and has never asked me for a dime because, in their eyes, she's one of those foreign women who trap American men. Last weekend we had dinner at my parents' house. At first things were civil, but then my dad smirked and said, "So, Far, now that you've been married for 5 years, do you finally get to keep your green card?" My mom laughed and added, "Guess you don't have to be on your best behaviour anymore, huh?" Far went pale. I was furious. I told them to cut it out, but my dad doubled down and said they were joking. But we can't blame them for wondering how much of this marriage was for love and how much was for the visa. My mom nodded and said they wanted to ensure I wasn't taken advantage of. That was it. I stood up, told them we weren't staying for dinner, and walked out with Far. In the car, she was quiet, then finally asked me if they really thought that way of her, which just broke my heart. Now my parents say I embarrassed them in front of the other family and overreacted. My brother says I should have just kept the peace and talked to them later. They're refusing to apologise, claiming it was just a joke. I don't regret standing up for my wife, but now I'm wondering if maybe I should have just waited until everyone else is gone to call them out on it. Edit, I'm 33 years old. I didn't think to add it, but I wanted to clarify as some may think there's some huge age gap between us. I can totally imagine my narcissistic family having the same reaction, belittling my partner for no reason other than their own ignorant biases. It must have been so painful for your wife to hear those comments, and standing up for her was right. You shouldn't have to endure that kind of disrespect, and I truly believe that if more people had your back like you did for her, the world would be a better place. Do you think they'll ever come around, or is this a pattern with your family? I'm curious, do they know she earns more money than you? I'd have thrown that in their faces to shut them up about the gold digger comments and see how they like the truth. Also, I go no contact as they clearly will never respect your relationship or your wife, and they will just keep excusing their racism as jokes. Yeah, I love how when idiots get called out, they're suddenly just joking. Last time I checked, if not everyone's laughing and someone is actually hurt, it's not a joke, it's being an idiot. Two very different things. You've been married for 5 years, and you've often told them to knock it off with their comments, so no way is this just a joke. They know you don't like their comments because you've told them so repeatedly. This is surely going no contact territory. I, 26 male, have been friends with Josh, 26 male, since college. We were basically inseparable then, but only stayed in touch intermittently since graduation. Recently, he moved to New York City where I live, and we've been hanging out like we did in the old times. Josh mainly comes near me because there are some bars we like to go to there. I've offered to go to his neighbourhood. He lives in a different borough, but he says there are no fun places there. The only issue is he must leave pretty early because the trains get wonky at night and Ubers are expensive. I've offered to let him crash, but he says he didn't want to be a burden. Anyway, last Saturday, Josh wanted to stay out and asked if he could crash. I told him of course. We went back to my studio. He knew it was a studio and he asked if I had any pyjamas he could borrow. I told him no because 1, I genuinely own no pyjamas, and 2, I have some sweatpants, but I'm weird about people wearing my clothes. I can't explain why, I just am. A germ thing. Anyway, I suggested to Josh he sleep in his boxers and he got annoyed. He said he wouldn't have stayed if he'd known I'd be so accommodating, and I said all I offered him was a couch to crash on. He Ubered home and it was about $100. The next day he Venmo requests me $30 and says it's because he would have gone home earlier if he'd known I was going to be weird. I denied the request, and then when I tried to follow up on some previously made plans, He's been distant and has apparently trash-talked me to a mutual friend. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but I think it's weird you wouldn't loan your apparently inseparable buddy a pair of joggers. Clothes are made to be washed, matey. Just my 2 cents. He could have just slept in his clothes. Expecting someone to lend you clothes is 50-50. Some people don't have issues with the germs, but he's not entitled to your clothing. Putting the blame on you for him taking an Uber is ridiculous. Your friend is immature and lacks accountability. If a fully grown man can't spend one night in his boxers to save $100, then he needs to be more specific when asking about crashing at your studio. Did he want you to make breakfast for him also? Yeah, can I crash means, there's the sofa, there's the bathroom, help yourself to water and whatever's in the fridge. Maybe a bed if you're lucky and they have a spare room. It absolutely doesn't mean pajamas. This is something you do on a whim, especially in your early to late 20s. I wouldn't expect a luxury hotel guest room experience. Getting a Venmo request is wild. He should have just taken the loss and learned for next time. This is hilarious to me, not the idiot in any way.